Anybody calling himself a presidential aide knows that his job is 24/7. He has no time to play. Some of the aides we see now or hear about are always in the public realm, they're always drinking, they're always found in clubs. What time do you have to advise the president? How are you advising the president? You're always found in fights, brandishing guns, insulting people. What kind of rapport are you creating with the nation? What image are you giving about the kind of presidency we have? Let's respect the presidency. Your job is to advise. Any person calling himself an advisor to the president knows that he has no time. Why? Because most of his time must be spent studying what's happening around. Second, reading the mood of the nation and advising the nation. And you know that your family also suffers in the process because they may not see you every day. But if we see you clubbing, then we begin to wonder what you're doing with the president and how much time you're devoting to your work. This is taxpayers' money. How much time are you actually giving to your job for those hefty salaries that you're receiving? Respecting the presidency is not just about the individual occupying the office of presidency. It is you, the people around the president. You as aides, you're the image of the president. Therefore, I appeal to these gentlemen who are aides to the president to ensure that they do not throw mud around the presidency. Some of us have got political ambitions, and we don't want to move into those offices and find them so dented that we cannot fix things because the image of the presidency is injured beyond repair. Let me say this in conclusion. As I conclude, let me acknowledge that I know we are going through challenging times as a nation, and it is frustrating. Ubungana balunda. Money is hard to come by, and it seems much easier to fight each other than to help each other. But let me state here and now that we shall make it that much harder for ourselves to recover as a nation if we destroy the pillars of our civilization and our governance structures. Now is not the time to turn on each other like savages without a care for posterity. Now is not the time for us to fight unnecessarily. Now is a time for us to agree to disagree without hurting the fortunes of the future of Zambia. But as we disagree, let us disagree on issues. Issues, not personalities. That which is sacred to us as a nation must be preserved and protected. I have given this statement as an advisory to my two brothers who are fighting, because I know that sometimes when you don't have the time to talk to each other, a third party may come in between and propose a settlement. Like I've said, I know Mr. Findlay, I know Chishimba Kambwili as a brother. And if there's someone who they need to mediate, if needs be, lawyers and other people, I am ready to come in between, to speak to Chishimba Kambwili and to speak to Mr. Findlay. Because in trying to defend yourselves, you may actually be hurting the presidency much more than you think. And we, as a nation, will suffer. The woman in Shangombo, in Lundazi, in Kaputa, in Feira, will be suffering because of what you are doing today. To my president, currently occupying the office of president, I say this. Please protect that institution to the utmost and ensure that when you leave with the dignity that we are supposed to give you. Because the people you surround yourself with may also injure you, unintentionally or intentionally, deliberately or otherwise. It's dependent on the perception that the nation gives. As Christians, we're willing to forgive, and I pray that we find it within ourselves to at least stretch out a hand and say, I am willing to forgive. So my two brothers must come together, compromise for the future of the presidency and the future of this country, which we love, called Zambia. And I thank you. You can shoot your questions.
Zambia must prosper, tikaika manja pamozi. We have what it takes to make it a better place. All we need is a game changer. Imitondo wenge twakwata, culture and rich natural resources, talent and skill tilinayo follow. All we need is a game changer. Oh, business and houses, women and children, bakulu na bafana. Church youths and elders, kukabanga kumasamba.
What does that entail for me as a Zambian, for you as a lawyer from Zambia? Should we watch from a distance while the rest of the world laughs at us?
Thank you for that question, and it is perhaps one of the reasons why I've given this statement. I have given this statement because I want to advise both parties that there are ways and means of resolving problems. I don't agree that when something is being discussed by outside forces, we must keep quiet. But the way in which we respond, or indeed discuss such matters as the people affected, matters to me. And my worry is, why are we going to be the first ones to insult ourselves? So we must first respect ourselves and protect that which is ours. If we can find a way of ensuring that this which is outside there is discussed by us as Zambians in the best way we know how, the better. Now, I know that sometimes you as news people also want to sell your newspapers and you want big headlines. And it's how much the scoop comes and whatever. But at the end of the day, if your scoop is going to damage the nation, what are you doing to the poor person that you are actually trying to inform, educate? You're actually injuring the nation. That is why I said the image of the presidency is the image of security for the nation. It is our first line in terms of foreign direct investment. Before they speak to the foreign minister, before they speak to the finance minister, they have to see who's in charge. Especially for us as Africans. Many of the Brentwood organizations would want to know who's in charge before they give you money. So we've got to be very careful how we handle this. I'm not saying we must kill the story. No. But in Zambia, how we handle it is more important to me. And going to court is what I'm against. Let me just extrapolate and argue. I was saying every American dollar is controlled by the Reserve Bank of America. If it is found by even a tinge of evidence that part of the dollars or the money in the dollar accounts Mr. Findlay has is tainted, if it is found, the American Reserve Bank, Federal Reserve Bank, has the right to close those accounts. You know what that means? It's a problem. It also means, as Zambia, we may not be given the dollars, because here, everything we do in terms of international trade is dollar. The Americans will be saying, we don't want Zambia touching our dollar because we don't know what they're going to do with it. So what image do we give? It is always important that even when you've got something to say, you find the right fora and the right method of saying it. What I'm against here is the methodology being, and the reaction coming from my brother Vowden. It is not correct that we rush to court. As lawyers, he has lawyers. He has the means to hire 10, 15 lawyers, right? But ultimately, when you're in court, you don't control the proceedings. You don't control the evidence coming from the other side. You expose yourself. What if more damage comes? And it injures this country. That's my worry. So if they're senior citizens, and I'm offering myself, I know both men, if they think we can mediate and talk between ourselves, let's resolve this issue. But let's not harm Zambia as a nation. That's my contention. So it can be discussed.
As an offshoot to that,